Welcome to Horror Echo. Hello everyone. I'm here to help you unwind and drift off to sleep. But before you do, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also, let me know in the comments where you're from and what time it is where you're watching. Now, get comfortable, relax, and let me take you on a journey into the unknown. Whispers in the Pines. The sun had just begun to set, casting long shadows through the towering pines of Whispering Woods. Emma, Lisa, Sarah, and Mia, along with their boyfriends Jake, Tom, Ben, and Chris, had decided to spend the weekend camping deep within the forest, seeking an escape from their bustling city lives. Laughter echoed as they set up tents near a serene, secluded clearing, the air filled with the scent of pine and the promise of adventure. As night fell, the group gathered around a crackling campfire, sharing stories and roasting marshmallows. The moon hung low, its silvery light filtering through the dense canopy, creating an ethereal glow. Emma, the unofficial leader of the group, suggested they share local legends to add some excitement to the evening. "Have you guys heard about the old Miller cabin?" Emma began, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "They say it's haunted by the spirits of a family who vanished without a trace 50 years ago. Some say you can still hear their cries on nights like this." The group exchanged nervous glances, but the flickering flames seemed to embolden them. "Probably just stories to scare kids," Ben chuckled, tossing another log onto the fire. As the night deepened, the woods grew eerily silent, the usual sounds of nocturnal creatures absent. A thick fog began to roll in, wrapping the clearing in a ghostly veil. Mia shivered, pulling her jacket tighter. "Guys, I think we should head back to the tents." Before anyone could respond, a distant, mournful wail echoed through the trees, sending chills down their spines. "Did you hear that?" Sarah whispered, her eyes wide with fear. Jake, always the skeptic, tried to laugh it off. "Probably just the wind playing tricks on us." But the sound persisted, growing louder and more distinct, like the haunting cries Emma had described. Suddenly, the temperature seemed to drop, their breath visible in the cold night air. Shadows danced at the edge of the firelight, and the friends felt an undeniable presence watching them. Without warning, a spectral figure emerged from the fog, a translucent woman in a tattered dress, her eyes hollow and sorrowful. She raised a hand, pointing deeper into the forest. "Find us," her voice echoed, a blend of anguish and desperation. Panic set in as the group scrambled to their feet, the boyfriends grabbing their girlfriends' hands. "We need to leave, now!" Tom shouted, pulling Lisa towards the tent. But as they turned to flee, the ground beneath them seemed to shift, roots and vines entwining their feet, holding them in place. The apparition floated closer, her presence overwhelming. "Help us find peace," she pleaded, her form flickering like a dying candle. Emma, heart pounding, stepped forward. "What happened here? How can we help?" The ghostly woman extended her hand, pointing towards the dense woods. "Retrieve what was lost. Only then can we rest." Before anyone could respond, the figure dissipated into the mist, leaving the group in stunned silence. The oppressive atmosphere pressed in around them, and the realization set in, they were now part of the legend, bound to uncover the mystery of Whispering Woods. As dawn approached, the first light of day began to break through the trees, but the sense of unease lingered. They knew their journey was just beginning, and the secrets of the forest were far from revealed. As dawn broke, the first rays of sunlight pierced through the dense canopy, casting dappled patterns on the forest floor. The air was thick with humidity, and the morning chorus of birds provided a stark contrast to the oppressive silence of the night before. Emma, Lisa, Sarah, Mia, and their boyfriends, Jake, Tom, Ben, and Chris, gathered around the remnants of their campfire, the embers still glowing faintly. "We need to figure out what the ghost meant by retrieve what was lost," Emma said, her voice steady despite the lingering fear. She glanced around at her friends, seeing determination mirrored in their eyes. Jake nodded, rubbing his temples. "If we're going to solve this, we need to stay organized. Maybe the Miller cabin isn't too far from here. We should check the map and see if we can locate it." Tom pulled out his smartphone, but there was no signal in the middle of the forest. "Great, no help from technology. We'll have to rely on our instincts and any information we have." Ben, always the resourceful one, suggested, "Let's split into two groups. One can search for the cabin, and the other can explore the immediate area for any clues about the missing family." After some deliberation, they decided on the following teams. Emma, Jake, and Tom would search for the Miller cabin. Lisa, Sarah, Mia, Ben, and Chris would investigate the surrounding area for artifacts or signs of the vanished family. With a plan in place, the groups set off in opposite directions, the weight of their mission pressing heavily on their shoulders. Group 1, the search for Miller cabin. Emma led the way, her flashlight cutting through the underbrush as they trekked deeper into the forest. The trees seemed to grow thicker here, their branches intertwining overhead to form a natural barrier against the daylight. "According to the map, the cabin should be about a mile from here," Jake said, consulting his compass. "But it's easy to lose your bearings in a place like this." Tom, the most agile of the group, scanned the surroundings. "Keep an eye out for any landmarks. Old cabins often have unique features." After what felt like hours of walking, they began to feel the strain. Emma's legs ached, and Jake was breathing heavily. Just as their hope was dwindling, they stumbled upon a clearing. At its center stood a dilapidated structure, the Miller cabin. The cabin was a shadow of its former self, the wooden planks weathered and moss-covered. Windows were shattered, and the roof had partially collapsed, allowing the forest to reclaim the space. Vines snaked up the sides, and the door hung ajar, creaking softly in the gentle breeze. Emma approached cautiously, pushing the door open further. Inside, the cabin was dark and musty, the air thick with the scent of decay. Dust motes danced in the beams of light that managed to penetrate the gloom. "Look at this," Jake called out, pointing to a faded photograph lying on a rickety table. It depicted a family of 4, parents and 2 children, standing in front of the very cabin they were in. The faces were stern, eyes seemingly following them as they moved. Emma picked up the photograph, feeling a chill run down her spine. This must be the Miller family. Maybe their belongings can tell us what happened here. As they explored the cabin, they found remnants of the past, a rusted lantern, an old journal, and a broken rocking chair. Emma carefully opened the journal, the pages yellowed with age. September 12, 1973. Today marks the beginning of our new life here. The forest is beautiful, and the cabin is perfect. I hope the spirits of the land bless our family." Emma read aloud, her voice echoing in the empty room. "It sounds like they believed in something here. Maybe that's why they're still bound to this place." Suddenly, a cold gust of wind swept through the cabin, extinguishing their flashlights and plunging them into darkness. The temperature dropped sharply, their breaths visible in the frigid air. "Did you feel that?" Tom whispered, his voice trembling. Before Emma could respond, a soft sobbing filled the room. They turned to see the apparition of a woman standing by the window, her eyes hollow and filled with sorrow. "Why can't you let us rest?" the ghostly figure pleaded, her voice breaking. Emma stepped forward, holding up the journal. "We want to help. What do you need us to do?" The apparition pointed towards the back of the cabin, where the remnants of a small garden lay overgrown. "Find what was buried here. Return what was lost." With that, the ghost vanished, leaving the group in stunned silence. "We need to go back and search the garden," Emma concluded. "It might hold the key to freeing their spirits." Group 2, uncovering the past. Meanwhile, Lisa, Sarah, Mia, Ben, and Chris scoured the area around the campsite. They moved methodically, searching for any signs that could explain the disappearance of the Miller family. Mia, the most observant of the group, noticed something unusual near a cluster of trees. "Hey, over here. I found something." They gathered around a large oak tree, where half buried in the soil was an old, rusty tin box. Ben carefully dug it out, his fingers trembling as he opened the lid. Inside were several items: a locket, a small notebook, and a bundle of letters tied with a faded ribbon. Sarah picked up the notebook, flipping through its pages. These must belong to the Miller family. Maybe they contain clues about what happened. Lisa examined the letters, her eyes scanning the handwritten words. "Listen to this. The forest feels alive, watching us every move. I fear something is not right. Please, if anything happens to us, know that we loved our home." Chris frowned. It sounds like they were being watched or followed by something. Maybe spirits or something more sinister. Ben opened the locket, revealing a tiny portrait of the family. "This is beautiful. They must have been happy here, at least at first." As they continued to sift through the contents, Mia found a faded map tucked inside the tin box. "Guys, look at this. It's a map of the forest, with a marked location deep within the woods. Maybe it's where they hid something important." "Looks like we have two pieces of the puzzle," Lisa said thoughtfully. "Group 1 found the cabin and the journal, and we have the letters and this map. We need to combine our findings." Reunion and revelation. By midday, both groups reconvened at the original campsite, sharing their discoveries. The combined evidence pointed towards a deeper mystery hidden within the forest. "We need to follow this map," Emma stated, laying out the journal, letters, and map on a flat rock. "It might lead us to what the ghost was referring to." Jake studied the map closely. "There's a marked spot here, near an old stone monument. It looks like it's somewhere northeast of the cabin." Tom nodded. "Let's go. But we need to stay vigilant. If the spirits are still here, they might not want us to find what we're looking for." The group set off together, their path taking them through thick underbrush and over uneven terrain. The sun climbed higher, but an uneasy feeling settled over them, as if unseen eyes were watching their every move. After a couple of hours, they reached the location marked on the map, a clearing dominated by a weathered stone monument. The monument was carved with intricate symbols and stood as a silent sentinel over the area. "Look at these carvings," Sarah said, tracing her fingers over the symbols. "They resemble ancient protective wards. Maybe the Miller family used them to safeguard something." Ben examined the base of the monument, noticing a depression that seemed to be a natural receptacle. "I think we need to place something here. Maybe the items we found are meant to be returned." Emma looked around. We have the journal, the letters, the locket. What should we place here? Mia stepped forward, holding the tin box they had unearthed. This box contains personal items of the Miller family. Returning it might be what they need to find peace. As Mia placed the tin box into the depression, the ground began to tremble slightly. The air grew thick with anticipation, and the group held their breath, waiting for something to happen. Suddenly, a brilliant light erupted from the monument, enveloping the clearing in a radiant glow. The symbols on the stone shimmered, and a harmonious hum filled the air, resonating with the very soul of the forest. From the light emerged the apparitions of the Miller family, parents and children, standing together, their expressions serene and grateful. "Thank you," the father spoke, his voice now warm and peaceful. "You have freed us from our bondage. The forest can finally reclaim its harmony." The spirits began to fade, their forms dissolving into sparkling motes that floated upwards, merging with the sunlight. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, replaced by a sense of calm and fulfillment. Emma felt a weight lift from her shoulders. It's over. They've been set free. But as the group prepared to leave the clearing, a cold breeze swept through the area, and the ground beneath them began to crack. The stone monument, once solid and unyielding, started to crumble, revealing a hidden passageway beneath. Jake looked back at the clearing, confusion etched on his face. "What now? Should we go back?" Emma hesitated, then nodded. "We followed the spirit's instructions, but it seems there's more to this story. Maybe there's another layer to the mystery that we need to uncover." Tom stepped forward, determination in his eyes. "If the spirits have led us this far, there's something else we need to find. Let's see where this passage takes us." With a mixture of fear and curiosity, the group descended into the hidden passageway, their flashlights illuminating the narrow, winding path. The air grew cooler, and the sounds of the forest above faded away, replaced by the distant drip of water and the echo of their footsteps. As they ventured deeper, the walls of the passage became adorned with more carvings and symbols, similar to those on the monument. It was clear that this underground path held significant importance to the Miller family's story. After what felt like an eternity, they reached the end of the passage, emerging into a vast underground chamber. The room was dominated by an ancient stone altar, upon which rested a weathered book bound in cracked leather. Emma approached the altar cautiously, her heart pounding. This must be the key to everything. The final piece of the puzzle. Jake reached out to open the book, but before he could, a voice echoed through the chamber, a deep, resonant tone that seemed to emanate from the very walls. "Only those with pure intent may uncover the truth. Are you prepared to face what lies beyond?" The group exchanged uneasy glances, the gravity of their situation sinking in. Emma took a deep breath, stepping forward. "Yes, we're ready." As the door to the chamber sealed shut, the room began to shimmer with ethereal light. The pages of the book fluttered open, revealing handwritten entries and illustrations that told the full story of the Miller family and their connection to the forest. But as Emma began to read, she realized that uncovering the truth was only the beginning of their ordeal. Dark secrets, ancient curses, and restless spirits awaited them, testing their courage and unity as they delved deeper into the mysteries of Whispering Woods. The underground chamber seemed to pulsate with energy as the group stood before the ancient stone altar. The air was thick with anticipation, every breath laden with the weight of the mysteries they were about to uncover. Emma reached out cautiously, her fingers brushing the cracked leather cover of the weathered book. The moment her touch made contact, a surge of energy rippled through the room, and the pages began to turn on their own. Emma's eyes widened as she realized the book was not just a record, but a conduit to the past. The pages revealed detailed accounts of the Miller family's life in the forest, their deep connection to the land, and the dark events that led to their untimely disappearance. October 3rd, 1973. The forest whispers at night, secrets buried beneath the roots and shadows. We felt a presence watching us, something ancient and restless. Tonight, we perform the binding ritual to protect our home and our souls. May the spirits of the land grant us peace and strength. Jake leaned in closer, reading over Emma's shoulder. Binding ritual? What does that mean? Emma continued, her voice barely above a whisper. The binding ritual was meant to seal away a malevolent force that once threatened the forest. The Millers believed that by performing this ritual, they could contain the darkness and protect their spirits from being consumed. As Emma absorbed the information, the chamber began to shift around them. The walls seemed to breathe, and the symbols etched into the stone glowed faintly. A cold draft swept through the room, and the temperature plummeted. "Guys, something's happening," Tom said, his voice shaky. "We need to stay calm." Suddenly, the room was filled with ethereal voices, whispers intertwining with the rustling of leaves. Shadows danced along the walls, forming shapes that resembled the Miller family. The apparitions moved gracefully, reenacting the binding ritual described in the book. "We need to complete the ritual," Emma stated firmly, understanding that their actions were directly influencing the spirit's fate. "It's the only way to ensure the malevolent force remains sealed." Jake looked around, searching for clues. The book mentioned specific items needed for the ritual. "Do we have anything here that matches?" Tom flipped through the pages, finding an illustration of the ritual components: a candle made from pine resin, a bowl of spring water, and a piece of woven fabric representing unity. "We have some of these items from our search," Ben interjected. "The locket, the journal, the letters, they might be what we need." Emma nodded, gathering the items from the altar. "Let's set them up as described. We need to follow the instructions precisely." They arranged the candle, bowl of water, and fabric on the altar, mirroring the illustrations in the book. As Emma began to recite the incantation written on the page, the chamber responded. The symbols glowed brighter, and the whispers grew louder, forming coherent words. "By the light of the moon and the strength of our bond, we seal the darkness beyond. Let peace reign and shadows fade, as the spirits of the pines are laid." As Emma spoke the final words, a blinding light enveloped the chamber. The apparitions of the Miller family stood before them, their expressions now serene and grateful. "Thank you," the matriarch whispered, her voice filled with genuine relief. "You have honored our legacy and preserved the balance of the forest." With those words, the spirits began to dissolve into sparkling particles, rising towards the ceiling before vanishing entirely. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, replaced by a profound sense of tranquility. The stone altar returned to its original state, the carvings no longer glowing. The hidden passageway above began to stabilize, the cracked ceiling shut as if the forest itself was healing. Emma closed the book, feeling a deep sense of accomplishment mixed with lingering unease. "I think we've done it. The malevolent force is contained, and the spirits can finally rest." Jake let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. "But what about the passageway? Should we go back?" Before anyone could respond, a soft, melodic humming filled the chamber. The sound was soothing, yet carried an undertone of melancholy. The group turned to see a single apparition materialize before them, a young girl, no older than 10, with tear-streaked cheeks and hollow eyes. "Wait," the girl whispered, her voice barely audible. "There's more." Emma stepped forward, her curiosity piqued. "What else is there? What do you need us to do?" The girl's form flickered, her eyes pleading. "Follow the light. Find the heart of the forest. Only then can true peace be achieved." Before they could ask any questions, the chamber began to tremble once more. The floor split open, revealing a narrow staircase leading deeper underground. The humming grew louder, guiding them towards the unknown. "We need to follow her," Emma said, determination hardening her voice. "If there's more to this story, we have to uncover it." The group exchanged hesitant glances, the gravity of their mission weighing heavily on them. With a collective nod, they descended the staircase, the light from above fading as they ventured further into the depths of Whispering Woods. The passageway led them to another expansive chamber, illuminated by bioluminescent fungi that cast an eerie glow on the walls. In the center stood a large, crystalline structure pulsating with energy. The air was thick with magic and the remnants of ancient power. "Is this the heart of the forest?" Ben asked, awe evident in his voice. Emma approached the crystal cautiously, feeling its vibrations resonate with her very being. "It must be." The girl said true peace can only be achieved here. As she reached out to touch the crystal, visions flashed before her eyes, memories of the forest's past, the arrival of the Miller family, the emergence of the malevolent force, and the binding ritual that held it at bay. "We're connected to this place more than we realized," Emma murmured. "Our presence here has awakened something that was meant to stay hidden." Suddenly, the chamber darkened as shadows coalesced into a formidable figure, the very essence of the malevolent force they had inadvertently unleashed by delving deeper. Its presence was suffocating, exuding pure malice. "You cannot contain me forever," the entity boomed, its voice echoing through the chamber. "I will reclaim what was stolen and spread my darkness throughout the land." The group felt the weight of despair pressing down on them, the odds stacked against their survival. But Emma refused to give in. "We won't let you harm the forest or anyone else. We came here to help, and we'll do whatever it takes to stop you." The entity laughed, a sound that sent shivers down their spines. "Foolish mortals. You do not understand the power you meddle with." Drawing strength from their unity, the friends stood together, facing the darkness with unwavering resolve. "We may not understand everything, but we know what's right. We fight for the lives and the spirits you've wronged." As the battle between light and dark commenced, the chamber became a battleground of wills and magic. The friends channeled their combined energy, drawing upon the rituals they had learned and the bonds that tied them together. Emma, at the forefront, focused on the crystalline heart, using its power to amplify their efforts. "We can do this. Together." The entity recoiled, its form destabilizing under the onslaught of pure intent and unity. With one final surge of energy, the group managed to seal the malevolent force back into the crystal, shattering its hold over the forest. A blinding light erupted from the heart, purging the darkness and restoring balance. The chamber filled with a harmonious energy, the spirits of the forest singing in gratitude as peace was finally achieved. Exhausted but victorious, the friends stood amidst the remnants of the ancient chamber, knowing they had played a pivotal role in saving Whispering Woods from eternal darkness. As they made their way back to the surface, The first rays of dawn broke through the trees, casting a golden glow over the forest. The air was fresh, filled with the promise of a new beginning. Emma looked back one last time, the hidden passage now sealed and silent. We've done it. The forest is free, and so are the spirits. Jake smiled, wrapping an arm around her shoulder. And we've made memories we'll never forget. But as they reached the edge of the woods, a faint whisper carried on the breeze, a reminder that some secrets of Whispering Woods were best left undisturbed. The morning sun bathed Whispering Woods in a warm, golden light as Emma, Lisa, Sarah, Mia, Jake, Tom, Ben, and Chris made their way out of the forest. Exhausted but triumphant, they shared relieved smiles, the weight of their recent ordeal slowly lifting. The once oppressive atmosphere had transformed into one of serenity, the birdsong a welcome soundtrack to their escape. As they reached the forest's edge, the group paused to take in their surroundings. The trees stood tall and majestic, their leaves rustling gently in the breeze. It felt as though the forest itself was breathing a sigh of relief, grateful for their intervention. "We did it," Emma said softly, her eyes reflecting both exhaustion and satisfaction. "The spirits are free, and the malevolent force is contained." Jake nodded, squeezing her shoulder reassuringly. "Yeah, but that whisper we heard. Do you think it's just the wind?" Before anyone could respond, a chill ran down Emma's spine. She turned to see a faint, shadowy figure standing a short distance away from the group, partially obscured by the trees. The figure seemed to shimmer in the sunlight, its presence barely noticeable unless one looked closely. "Did you see that?" Mia whispered, clutching her jacket tighter. Ben squinted in the direction Emma was looking. "Probably just your imagination, Mia. We've been through enough to make us see things." But Emma couldn't shake the unease. "No, it looked real. Maybe there's still something we need to address." Before anyone could argue, the shadowy figure began to move towards them, its form becoming more defined with each step. As it approached, the friends could see it was a man, dressed in clothing reminiscent of the Miller family era. His eyes held a sorrowful gaze, and his presence exuded a lingering sadness. "Who are you?" Emma called out, her voice steady despite her racing heart. The man paused, his expression melancholic. "I am Thomas Miller, the eldest son of the family that once called this forest home. Though my family has found peace, I remain unsettled." Sarah stepped forward, her curiosity overcoming her fear. "Why are you still here, Thomas?" Thomas sighed, his gaze drifting towards the horizon. "There are remnants of the darkness we thought we had contained. The binding ritual held it at bay, but its influence still lingers in certain parts of the forest. I need your help to ensure that no other spirits are trapped or that no other malevolent forces arise." Emma felt a surge of determination. "Tell us what needs to be done. We're here to help." Thomas nodded, a faint smile breaking through his sorrow. "There is an old shrine deep within the forest, dedicated to the spirits that protect these woods. It has been neglected and overgrown, and dark energies have begun to seep into it once more. Restoring the shrine will reinforce the protective wards and prevent any resurgence of darkness." Jake glanced at the group, seeing the resolve in their eyes. "We'll help you restore the shrine. Lead the way." Thomas turned and began to walk back into the forest, motioning for the group to follow. The friends exchanged determined looks before trailing behind him, their footsteps light on the forest floor. Journey to the shrine. The path to the old shrine was overgrown and barely visible, the thick underbrush making progress slow and challenging. Thomas led them with surprising ease, navigating through the dense foliage as if he knew every twist and turn of the forest intimately. As they walked, Thomas shared more about the history of Whispering Woods. The shrine was built centuries ago by the indigenous people who revered the forest as a living entity. It served as a place of worship and a conduit for communicating with the spirits. Over time, as settlers arrived, the shrine fell into disrepair, and its protective magic weakened. Mia wiped sweat from her brow, her muscles aching from the trek. So, restoring the shrine will renew its protective magic? Exactly, Thomas affirmed. But it's not just about cleaning and repairing. We need to perform a ritual to rekindle the shrine's connection to the spirits. Without it, the forest remains vulnerable. After what felt like hours, the dense trees began to thin, revealing a small clearing. In the center stood the old shrine, a stone structure covered in moss and vines. The once intricate carvings were now faded, and the surrounding area showed signs of neglect. "Here it is," Thomas announced, stopping before the shrine. "This is where the protective wards were originally established. We'll need to cleanse the area and restore the carvings before we can perform the ritual." Restoring the shrine. The group set to work, clearing the overgrown vegetation and carefully removing the moss that had obscured the shrine's details. Emma, Lisa, and Sarah focused on cleaning the stone carvings, using brushes and gentle tools to reveal the intricate patterns once more. Jake, Tom, Ben, and Chris assisted by gathering materials for the ritual: pine resin candles, bowls of spring water, and pieces of woven fabric. Mia took on the role of documenting the process, ensuring that every step was recorded for future reference. As the shrine began to take shape, the air around them grew warmer, the oppressive feeling they had felt earlier diminishing with each stroke of their brushes. The carvings, now fully visible, depicted scenes of harmony between humans and nature, guardians standing watch over the forest, and symbols of protection and balance. These symbols, Emma noted, pointing to a series of intertwined circles and lines, they seemed to represent the connection between the physical world and the spiritual realm. Thomas nodded. "Yes, they're ancient protective wards. Reinforcing them will strengthen the shrine's magic and ensure the forest remains safeguarded." With the shrine restored, the group prepared for the ritual. Emma opened the weathered book they had found earlier, finding the instructions for the binding ritual. "We need to follow these steps precisely to rekindle the shrine's magic." They arranged the pine resin candles around the shrine, placed the bowls of spring water in a circle, and draped the woven fabric over the altar. As they began the incantation, the symbols on the shrine started to glow softly, the energy in the air becoming palpable. "By the light of the spirits and the strength of our unity, we restore the balance and protect this sanctuary. Let harmony reign and darkness be banished, as the guardians of the forest awaken." As they chanted, the ground beneath them seemed to hum with energy. A gentle breeze stirred the leaves, and the bioluminescent fungi around the clearing began to glow brighter, their light reflecting off the newly restored shrine. Suddenly, a radiant light enveloped the area, and the spirits of the forest began to materialize around them. Guardians in ethereal forms stood tall, their presence both awe-inspiring and comforting. "Thank you," Thomas said, his voice filled with gratitude. "You have not only freed our family, but also restored the shrine, ensuring the forest's protection for generations to come." The lead guardian, a majestic figure with antlers and flowing robes of light, stepped forward. Your actions have shown great courage and respect for the balance of nature. Whispering Woods is forever in your debt. Emma felt a profound sense of accomplishment. We're just glad we could help. A new beginning. As the light from the shrine intensified, the spirits began to fade, their forms merging with the natural elements around them. The oppressive darkness that had once threatened the forest was now a distant memory, replaced by a renewed sense of peace and harmony. Thomas turned to the group, a smile on his face. With the shrine restored and the wards reinforced, Whispering Woods will remain a sanctuary for both the living and the spirits. You have our eternal gratitude. Jake clapped him on the back. We're happy to help, Thomas. Maybe now you can finally find the rest you deserve. Thomas nodded, a tear glistening in his eye. Thank you all. Farewell, and may your lives be filled with peace and light. With those final words, Thomas disappeared into the forest, his presence leaving behind a lingering sense of tranquility. The group stood in silence for a moment, taking in the magnitude of what they had accomplished. Emma looked around at her friends, their faces reflecting a mix of exhaustion and fulfillment. I think this is the end of our journey here. We've done what we came to do. Lisa nodded in agreement. It's been intense, but I'm glad we stuck together. As they made their way back to the campsite, the forest seemed to welcome them, the path now clear and inviting. The whispers that had once filled the air were now gentle and harmonious, a testament to the balance they had helped restore. Upon reaching the edge of the woods, the group took a moment to reflect on their experience. They had faced fears, unraveled mysteries, and forged bonds that would last a lifetime. To us, Tom raised an imaginary glass, a grin on his face. For surviving Whispering Woods and making it out stronger. They all laughed, the tension finally breaking as they began their trek back to civilization. The sun was high in the sky now, signaling the end of their adventure and the beginning of a new chapter in their lives. But as they drove away from the forest, Emma glanced in the rearview mirror, catching a glimpse of the trees swaying gently. For a split second, she thought she saw a shadow move between the trunks, a reminder that Whispering Woods still held its secrets. Shaking her head, she dismissed the thought. Probably just the wind, she murmured, though a part of her couldn't help but feel that some mysteries were never truly gone. The group's journey out of Whispering Woods had left them with memories that would haunt and inspire them for years to come. As they drove away, the sun high in the sky marked the end of their immediate ordeal, but the lingering whispers of the forest seemed to follow them, whispering secrets only a few could hear. Back to reality. Days passed, and life gradually returned to normal for Emma, Lisa, Sarah, Mia, Jake, Tom, Ben, and Chris. They shared their incredible story with close friends and family, though many dismissed it as an elaborate tale fueled by stress and imagination. Yet, each member of the group knew the truth. Whispering Woods was no ordinary forest, and its mysteries were far from fully unraveled. Emma found herself restless, unable to shake the feeling that something was still unsettled. Nights were the hardest, as shadows seemed to dance just beyond her bedroom window and whispers echoed in her dreams. Determined to find answers, she reached out to her friends, suggesting they reconvene to discuss their experiences in detail. Unveiling the past. Gathering at Emma's apartment, the friends spread out the artifacts they had collected from the forest, the weathered book, the letters, the locket, and the map. They pored over each item, searching for any overlooked clues. Look at this, Lisa pointed to an obscure passage in the journal. There's a mention of a veil of shadows, something about a barrier that protects the forest from external threats. Jake frowned. A veil of shadows? That sounds like it could be another layer of protection or perhaps another type of ritual. Mia, ever the researcher, pulled up old records and maps of Whispering Woods. According to some local legends, the Veil of Shadows was created by the indigenous people to safeguard the forest's deepest secrets. It's said to be a thin barrier between our world and the spirit realm. Sarah leaned forward. Maybe the shadowy figure we saw wasn't just a remnant of the past. Perhaps it's a guardian of the veil, ensuring that nothing disrupts the balance we've just helped restore. A new threat emerges. As they delved deeper into their research, strange occurrences began to escalate. Unexplained noises echoed in their homes, objects moved on their own, and an unsettling feeling of being watched permeated their everyday lives. It became clear that Whispering Woods was not done with them yet. One evening, as the group gathered to discuss their findings, the power went out, plunging Emma's apartment into darkness. Emergency candles flickered to life, casting eerie shadows on the walls. "Something's wrong," Tom whispered, his voice tense. "It's like the forest is reaching out to us." Before anyone could respond, the air grew thick with a chilling presence. The temperature dropped sharply, and a dense fog seemed to seep into the room from nowhere. In the midst of the fog, shapes began to form, shadowy figures moving with purpose. "Stay calm," Emma commanded, standing her ground. "We need to figure out what they want." A figure emerged from the mist, more defined than the others. It was Thomas Miller, his sorrowful gaze now replaced with determination. "You thought you had freed us, but the Veil of Shadows is weakening. A dark force is attempting to breach it, seeking to plunge both our worlds into chaos." Jake stepped forward. "What can we do to stop it?" Thomas's expression hardened. "There is an ancient artifact known as the Heartstone, hidden deep within the forest. It was the source of the Veil's power. If the Heartstone is secured and its energy replenished, the Veil can be strengthened once more." Emma felt a surge of resolve. "We're not done yet. We'll find the Heartstone and protect the forest." Return to the forest. The friends prepared for their return to Whispering Woods, aware that the stakes were higher than ever. They equipped themselves with supplies, including the weathered book that now served as a guide to the forest's secrets. As they approached the forest's edge, a familiar yet ominous feeling settled over them. "This feels different," Mia noted, glancing around. "The forest seems more alive, almost aware." Thomas led the way, his presence a beacon of hope and guidance. "The Heartstone is located in the sacred grove, a place few have ever seen. It's protected by trials that test one's spirit and intent." The trials began. As they ventured deeper into the forest, the environment shifted. The trees grew taller and denser, their branches intertwining to form a natural cathedral. Soft, luminescent lights guided their path, but shadows danced just beyond the light's reach, hinting at unseen dangers. "Stay close," Thomas cautioned. "The forest tests those who seek the Heartstone." Trial of courage. Their first challenge appeared suddenly, a deep chasm with no visible bridge. The only way across was a narrow, unstable path suspended by vines. Jake glanced at Emma, his eyes filled with fear. "I don't know if I can do this." Emma took his hand. "We can do this together. Trust each other." One by one, they carefully made their way across, the path swaying dangerously with each step. Halfway through, a vine snapped, sending Chris plunging into the darkness below. Panic erupted, but Thomas remained calm. "Focus on your courage," he instructed. "Fear can weaken your resolve." Drawing strength from each other, they managed to reach the other side, the memory of Chris's fall fueling their determination to persevere. Trial of Unity. Further into the forest, they encountered a series of enchanted mirrors, each reflecting not just their physical selves, but their innermost fears and doubts. "To pass, you must confront what lies within," Thomas explained. One by one, they faced their reflections, overcoming personal fears and insecurities. Emma confronted visions of failure and loss, while Mia faced the fear of never finding peace. With each triumph, the mirrors shattered, clearing their path forward. Trial of Sacrifice. As they neared the sacred grove, a thick fog enveloped them, and a spectral figure appeared before them, a guardian spirit. To claim the Heartstone, one must offer something of great value, the spirit declared. "What are you willing to sacrifice for the forest's protection?" The group stood in silence, contemplating the weight of the decision. Finally, Emma stepped forward. "I offer my memories of this journey. Let the forest remember our efforts." The spirit nodded, accepting her sacrifice. "Your selflessness strengthens the veil. Proceed." With heavy hearts, they continued, knowing that sacrifices were necessary to preserve the balance between worlds. The Heartstone revealed. In the heart of the sacred grove stood a majestic tree, its branches forming a natural canopy that glowed with an inner light. At its base lay the Heartstone, a radiant gem pulsating with vibrant energy. "That's it," Jake whispered, awestruck by its beauty. Thomas approached the Heartstone. "We need to channel its energy to reinforce the veil. But it requires a pure heart and unwavering intent." Emma placed her hand on the Heartstone, feeling its warmth resonate with her spirit. "We're ready." Strengthening the veil. Following the instructions from the weathered book, they began the ritual. Chanting in unison, they focused their collective energy on the Heartstone. The gem responded, its light intensifying as it absorbed their intent. The forest around them reacted, the air shimmering with magical energy. The veil of shadows glowed brightly, forming an invisible barrier that pulsed with protective strength. The malevolent force that sought to breach the veil recoiled, its dark essence dissipating into the ether. A fragile peace. As the ritual concluded, the sacred grove settled into a serene stillness. The Heartstone's light dimmed, now stable and radiant with renewed power. The friends felt a profound sense of accomplishment, knowing they had safeguarded both their world and the spirit realm. Thomas smiled, his mission finally complete. The veil is secure once more. Whispering Woods will remain a sanctuary of peace and harmony. Emma nodded, but remember, the forest's magic is delicate. We must respect and protect it always. Epilogue, Lingering Whispers. The friends returned to their lives, forever changed by their experiences in Whispering Woods. They maintained a deep bond, united by the trials they had faced and the secrets they had uncovered. Yet, the forest's whispers never fully faded, a subtle reminder of the mysteries that still lay hidden beneath the pines. One evening, as Emma walked through her neighborhood, she noticed a lone pine tree standing tall and solitary, its branches swaying gently in the night breeze. A faint, familiar whisper reached her ears. "Thank you." She smiled, a sense of peace washing over her. "Goodbye, Whispering Woods," she whispered back, knowing that some connections transcend the boundaries of life and death. But deep within the forest, the heartstone remained. It's like a beacon of hope and a symbol of the enduring bond between the living and the spirits of the pines. Final whispers. The days following their second expedition into Whispering Woods were filled with a profound sense of accomplishment and lingering unease. Emma, Lisa, Sarah, Mia, Jake, Tom, Ben, and Chris had not only confronted the restless spirits of the Miller family, but had also fortified the Veil of Shadows, ensuring the forest's protection for generations to come. Yet, the echoes of their experiences continued to resonate in their minds, a testament to the bond forged in the heart of the pines. A new dawn. As spring blossomed, the friends found themselves returning to their daily lives, each carrying the weight of their journey in their own way. Emma, once the unofficial leader, now embraced a quieter strength, her nights peaceful for the first time since their ordeal. She often found herself gazing at the lone pine tree in her neighborhood, a silent sentinel reminding her of the forest's enduring presence. One crisp morning, the group gathered at Emma's apartment for a final debriefing. The weathered book, the heartstone, and other artifacts lay neatly arranged on the coffee table, symbols of their shared history. "We've come a long way," Tom remarked, sipping his coffee. "It's hard to believe it's all over." Lisa nodded, her eyes reflecting a mixture of relief and nostalgia. "I think we've finally put the spirits to rest and secured the forest. But it feels like a part of us will always be connected to Whispering Woods." A peaceful farewell. As they reminisced, Emma felt a gentle breeze brush against her face, carrying with it the faintest whisper of gratitude. She closed her eyes, allowing the sensation to wash over her. "I think the forest is truly at peace now." The whispers are softer, almost like a lullaby. Ben smiled, placing a hand on Emma's shoulder. "We did it together. We made sure Whispering Woods remains a sanctuary." Mia, ever the observer, added, "And we've learned so much about ourselves and each other. This experience has changed us in ways we never imagined." Final reflections. That evening, as the sun set over the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, the friends decided to hold a small farewell gathering at Emma's place. They shared stories, laughed about their initial fears, and celebrated their triumphs. The atmosphere was warm, filled with the camaraderie that only such intense experiences can forge. As the night deepened, Emma stood by the window, gazing out at the fading light. "You know," she mused, "I used to think forests were just collections of trees. But Whispering Woods taught me they're alive, full of stories and spirits that deserve respect." Jake joined her, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. "It's more than just trees and animals. It's a living, breathing entity with its own history and guardians. A lasting legacy." Before parting ways that night, Thomas Miller appeared one final time, his presence serene and content. "Thank you once more for everything you've done. Whispering Woods thrives because of your courage and compassion." Emma smiled, feeling a deep sense of closure. "Take care, Thomas. May your family continue to find peace." Thomas nodded, his form beginning to fade into the night air. "Farewell, friends. May your lives be as harmonious as the forest we cherish." With that, he disappeared, leaving behind a tranquil silence that spoke volumes of gratitude and finality. Moving forward. In the weeks that followed, the friends found solace in their shared memories. They continued to meet regularly, ensuring that the bonds formed in Whispering Woods remained strong. Each of them carried a piece of the forest within them, a reminder of the trials they overcame and the spirits they helped set free. Emma returned to her leadership role and worked with renewed vigor, inspired by the resilience she had discovered within herself. Lisa pursued her passion for history, delving deeper into local legends and folklore. Sarah found peace in writing, documenting their experiences to honor the spirits of the forest. Mia expanded her research, becoming an advocate for preserving natural sanctuaries. Jake, Tom, Ben, and Chris each took paths that reflected the strength and unity they had cultivated together. Epilogue: Echoes of Gratitude. 1 year later, the friends decided to visit Whispering Woods once more, not out of necessity, but out of love and respect. They stood at the edge of the forest, now vibrant and thriving, a testament to their efforts and the enduring magic of the pines. As they walked through the familiar trails, the air was filled with the harmonious sounds of nature. The whispers that once instilled fear now felt like gentle reminders of the bonds they had forged and the peace they had achieved. At the heart of the forest stood the restored shrine, its carvings gleaming under the sunlight. Surrounding it were new signs of life, flowers blooming where once there was only decay, and the air was thick with the scent of pine and renewal. Emma placed a hand on the hearthstone, now a symbol of their unwavering commitment. "We did it," she whispered, her voice carrying the weight of their journey. A soft glow emanated from the shrine, and the friends felt a warm embrace envelop them, a final gesture of gratitude from the spirits they had helped. The forest seemed to sing with life, its whispers now a melody of harmony and hope. As they turned to leave, the lone pine tree in Emma's neighborhood stood tall and proud, its branches swaying gently in the breeze. The whispers had transformed, now a psalm of peace that echoed through their hearts. Thank you for listening to today's story. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Horror Echo. Let us know if you've ever had a similar experience. We'd love to hear your story. Sweet dreams, if you can sleep.